So our client is DIYA Advisors, and they are a startup financial services company based out of Hyderabad, India. But what their idea is to bring investing to the poor. So right now, microfinance focuses really just on microcredit and a couple other small areas. Microcredit being where you make a loan to someone and then that person pays that money back over time. And microinvesting is what they're trying to do. They're trying to take the limited amount of money that people have, and they're trying to give them options in order to invest that money on a long-term basis. And our project was to determine the feasibility of that in terms of launching an organization in India.
The primary research that we conducted was the absolute linchpin for our engagement. We were deployed on the ground in India for 2 weeks, and during that time visited 3 cities, Hyderabad, New Delhi, and Mumbai. And across those 2 weeks, we were able to get up close and personal with folks from industry, practitioners, folks from financial services, venture capitalists, as well as the folks that we were trying to reach out and help, the women from the self-help groups that we spent numerous hours interviewing, trying to get a pulse on what it was that they really needed on a day-to-day basis.
And it's one thing to do that in a classroom, in Los Angeles. It's another thing to fly to another country around the world in India and actually work with these same people, everything from logistics to the project planning, and try to make everything work out. Thanks to AMR and the CGM funding, we were able to fly out there, fly around the country, and literally go from rural villages and meet with villagers whose income was as low as $20, $40 a month, all the way to meeting top government officials and business officials, people who really ran the regulatory organizations and massive corporations.
There's just something irreplaceable about being there with them face to face, sitting on the ground with them, breaking bread with them, and really getting a glimpse into their livelihoods, how they lived on a day in and day out basis. We were there not just to try to solve a problem, but to build a connection with them. And thanks to CGM, we were able to do that. Learn to think in the next. That is the best piece of advice that I can offer to my future classmates. You need to have a longer term vision for what it is that you're setting out to achieve. It isn't about just quick wins or short-term gains. You really have to have your client's best interest in mind.
We were looking at a new industry. We were looking at a new industry as well as a demand for that. So I think one of the most basic frameworks is just looking how such an industry would interact. The biggest thing was barriers to entry, which were significantly high. We just followed that very basic structure, identifying if we went in the industry, who would we be competing with, who did we want to compete with, who did we not want to compete with.
Right. I think a lot of our intuition came from our core strategy class because this is a field that's emerging and there just isn't a lot known about it.
Basically, I think this project would be very hard to do outside of a place like Anderson. Everything from the research librarians helping us with our secondary research, the numerous professors who had studied these topics of micro-investing and developing financial products for the poor, all the way to talking to experts who had worked in India and knew the ground very well.
I came to business school with the idea of expanding my knowledge base and expanding my experiences. We all come in focused on specific areas, and AMR is an opportunity to learn something completely different. I don't come from a finance background, but our project was mostly finance-based. And it allowed me to kind of give in what I knew from the past, but also learn a whole new experience without having to work in that field. We have a big focus on entrepreneurship here, and we work with an entrepreneurial team developing a new product in India with an industry that hasn't been proven yet. So going through the whole motion of almost starting your own company for someone else was highly valuable for me.
What you learn in the classroom is great. You learn about theory, you learn about data, how to analyze empirical information, and how to distill content and disaggregate them into meaningful information that can be disseminated to the wider audience, but it doesn't teach you how to relate and to connect. And I think those are virtues that we, as business people, need to equip ourselves with and learn and develop. And the AMR was a perfect platform for us to practice those skills and to flex those muscles.